Do you have a family plumber? When you have a plumbing, heating, or cooling problem happen in your home or business, you need to be able to call a professional that you can rely on and trust to make the repair or equipment replacement. Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning has been the professional homeowners and businesses trust for 65 years. Whether you're looking for an emergency water heater replacement or planning a new heating system installation, you can trust Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning to provide quality service and installation. Reamer has the equipment to fit every budget, experienced estimators, and state licensed technicians to install. Trust a professional to do the job right. Call Reamer Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Visit them on the web at reamerplumbing.com.
Any way you spell it, Reamer means quality.
Now, the only locally produced farm radio show with agricultural news, information, interviews, in-depth weather, and more. It's Terry Henne and his Farm Show on 100.5 and 790 News Radio WSGW and online WSGW.com.
A mostly cloudy and damp good morning to you. I hope your day is going well for you, wherever you might be. Terry Henne here at Radio Center, along with Matthew Lester, and we do have a few raindrops out there. You're not going to get soaking wet yet in some areas, but you move a little bit further to the west, they've been picking up a little bit more. As a matter of fact, a little bit earlier this morning, before 10 o'clock, Grand Rapids, Muskegon, in that area, they were looking at a quarter to a half inch of precipitation in isolated areas. Overall, about a third of an inch there. All that activity is trying to work its way to the east. It is running into some drier air, and as a result, the precipitation pattern is breaking down, and a lot of times on radar, it looks like it's raining, but it's not. The precipitation isn't hitting the ground. It's up there. Well, we're only going to have that for so long, and then eventually we are going to get some rain. And as we move into the afternoon, especially after 3 o'clock this afternoon, some areas in the Great Lakes Bay area will be looking at some pretty steady rain. And then moving into the nighttime hours, that steady rain will turn into some heavy rain, again, in isolated spots. And we'll try to pinpoint that as best as we possibly can. But right now, Matthew, what are we looking at as far as temperatures go?
Well, over at the airport, we have light rain at 50 degrees. Over in Midland, it's rainy at 49 degrees. Here at Radio Center, we have light rain at 50 degrees. We have east winds at 3 miles per hour, and our pressure's at 30.13, and it's falling.
Some folks in the Thumb area, especially eastern portions of Tuscola County and over into Sanilac County, up into Huron County, they're not experiencing much of anything in the way of precipitation. It's just flat out mostly cloudy. Where the rain shower activity has moved in, especially in the Midland area, it's a steady rain. For us in the immediate MBS International area, light rain was reported. Grand Rapids now and Muskegon, the rainfall has dropped off a little bit, but you go further north, Cadillac looking at a steady rain there. Manistee right now, or Manistee, I should say, is looking at light rain. Ludington reporting light rain. Then you get up in the Upper Peninsula and voila, the sun's out. Sunshine in Kinross, Sault Ste. Marie, Manistee, Sawyer Gwynn looking, as well as Houghton. Mostly sunny skies. Temperatures, though, are still a little bit on the cool side, and we are running below average as far as our high temperatures go, and that's the way it's going to stay for the next few days. Low to maybe the mid-50s, hopefully by the first part of the work week next week. We're going to be looking at 52 for a high today, 51 for a high tomorrow, and then 53 for a high on Sunday. The precipitation pattern is going to break down later on Saturday. And by later on, I mean after lunch. Things are going to begin to thin out just a little, and the shower activity will be isolated at best on Saturday afternoon and Saturday night, but it's not going to help our temperatures. The other thing, though, that it is helping with the clouds, our temperatures at night are running quite a bit above normal, about 5 to 7 degrees above average. So there's no real concern as far as frost goes as of right now. But eventually we are going to see things thin out, but it's going to take the second half of the work week next week before we actually get out of a precipitation pattern. I think Tuesday shouldn't really be all that bad. Wednesday looks like some sun, but then Thursday, another system is going to be affecting our weather. So the probabilities of rain will pick up a little bit toward the tail end of the work week. But long range outlook to take us all the way through the 26th now is for our temperatures to begin to inch up above normal for this time of the year, and the precipitation pattern drop below. So whatever rain we get, let's say over the next 36 hours, is just about going to be it. And unfortunately for some folks, especially to the from Mount Pleasant west, there is a very good chance at least 2 inches, possibly even as much as 3 inches in that part of the state. I don't think we're going to see that around here. The immediate Great Lakes Bay area, maybe 1.5 inches total by the time we dump out the rain gauge Thursday, or I should say Saturday afternoon and Saturday night. Over in Michigan's Thumb, a little bit further east, the amount of precipitation will be less than that. At least that's what the rule of thumb seems to be indicating as of right now. We'll have more on the weather as we go through the broadcast. Standing by, Matthew, who do we have?
Up next, we have Gary Kaufman from Star of the West and Doug Klein from Oppenheimer.
But before we get to them, we want to remind you the weather forecast brought to you by the folks at Nutrient Ag Solutions.
Nutrient Ag Solutions has the local expertise to recommend the corn, soybean, and other seed products that are the best fit for your field. Plus, unparalleled agronomic support with products and services to unlock yield potential and improve crop performance from planting to harvest. Ask about our financing options to help you get more from every acre and lead the field. Visit your local Nutrient Ag Solutions branch or go to nutrientagsolutions.com.
They say there's a secret to growing a great crop. At Nutrient Ag Solutions, they beg to differ. It all starts with a strong foundation, and when it comes to fertilizer, there's no question that Titan XE drives dry fertilizer performance. They've been unlocking the potential in every prill of dry fertilizer with biocatalyst technology for over a decade. Visit lpi.ag/Titan or contact your Nutrient Ag Solutions crop consultant to drive your crop's potential today. Predictability in farming is next to impossible until now. Pivot Bio provides a more reliable, more predictable source of nitrogen. Pivot Bio delivers nitrogen directly to the plant throughout the growing season. Because it adheres directly to the roots, Pivot Bio doesn't wash away in the rain. Plant more predictability next season with Pivot Bio. Contact Don Morris at 989-239-2791 or Allie Morris at 989-780-3770 and get the Pivot Bio products on your operation. Check them out. For more information, just go to pivotbio.com. We say good morning to Gary Kaufman at Star of the West. And Gary, we had a little trick going there yesterday afternoon after that government report. A nice trick for once.
Yeah, it's not too often you see 30, cent moves on the upswing. You usually see them on a downswing. So
yeah, especially this time of the year.
Oh yeah, for sure, Jerry. Yeah, soybeans. Yesterday in that report, Jerry, was definitely the most bullish side of all the numbers. Just to dial into a couple things here on that, the soybean yield was cut about 0.5 bushel per acre from the September report. So it was kind of near the low end of the trade range. So, area harvested acres remained unchanged, but as a result, the production was reduced by about 42 million bushels. And, that was only 16 million bushel above the lower end of the trade range. So, at the end of the day, we're going to continue to watch South America, as they, they're doing their plantings down there. And, we did reduce exports by 35 million bushels. So, today, the markets, they're taking some profits. I mean, this market was on the positive all morning, Terry, up until the last 30 minutes here. So
yeah. I noticed we were giving up a little bit on the corn, and the corn, there was some major drops as far as production numbers go.
Yep. The corn, basically they reduced the yield there too, Terry. About 8 tenths of a bushel to 173 bushel per acre, and so that was below the trade average as well, and the reduced production by about 70 million bushel at the end of the day, and carryout was decreased to 110 million bushel due to some other factors as well. But yeah, that was a pretty friendly report for corn, even though there's a lot of corn. I mean, you look at a 2 billion plus carryout. I think the growers just need to reward the rallies when we get them, like a lot of them did yesterday. And we had that, we were at 40 plus cents at one time on soybeans, and a lot of soybeans were purchased yesterday on that move upward. So.
Yeah. So right now on the board, what do you have?
Oh, yeah. Right now, Cherry, we've got cash wheat is up 8. That's the only positive one we got yet today. 540 on the white, 470 on the red. We look at new crop for next year unchanged at 626 on the white, 551 on the red. Cash and current crop corn down 4 at 427, and cash and current crop soybeans down 13 right now, Terry, at 1197.
You have a great weekend, Gary. We'll talk to you again next week. All right.
Thanks, Terry. You as well.
You bet. Gary Kaufman at Star of the West. Doug Klein from Oppenheimer joining us right now. Market Report brought to you by Thumb Bank, serving the needs of agriculture for well over 125 years. And now they've got 13 locations throughout the Thumb and the Great Lakes Bay region. Thumb Bank, where relationships are built on trust. And by Schaefer and Beerline. The new Ram truck inventory is in at Schaefer and Beerline. The 2023 heavy duties are still coming in, and the 2024 1500s are arriving. So if you're in the market for a new Ram 1500, a Ram heavy-duty pickup, a ProMaster van, or a Ram commercial truck, and you want to buy with confidence from a business-linked dealer that knows what customer satisfaction truly is, Schaefer and Beerline in Frankenmuth is where you should go, where family and service sells cars. Doug Klein, good morning.
Good morning.
What are we looking at now?
Better fill her up.
Oh, no.
Crude's up $3.65 a barrel, 86.56. That's not too cool, but the gas is at 225. So actually it should be 290. So they're whatever. They're probably going to jack it up anyway, just because of the fear factor. But so we got that going on. The dollar's up a little bit. Gold and silver, they're up 2 to 4%. So they're having a little bit of a bounce here. That's about it for the news. Here's your numbers. The December corn is 492 3/4, down 3 1/4. March corn is 508, down 3 1/2. November soybeans 1277 1/4, down 12 3/4. March soybeans 1308 1/2, down 11. December wheat is 580 3/4, up 9 1/4, and March wheat 607 1/2, up 6. Crude oil 86.55, up $3.66. Heating oil is 318.13, up 13.5 cents. Gasoline is 225.40, up 8.9 cents. Natural gas at 322 1/4, that's down 12 1/4 cents. Over to currencies, Canadian dollar, U.S. dollar buys $1.3653 Canadian, that's down 36 ticks. The dollar buys 149.60 yen, that's down 20 ticks. The euro's at 105.01, down 25 ticks. The dollar's at 106.74, that's up 14 ticks. And gold is at 1907.60, down or up 38.30 an ounce. Silver's 22.84, up 88 cents. And platinum's at 8.80, up $7.70.
You have a great weekend, Doug.
I will. You too.
All righty. Talk to you again. Doug Klein over at Oppenheimer. Coming up, Mark Seaman with the soybean board is going to be talking to us. There's some things that soybean producers better be aware of. And I'm not just talking cyst nematode. There's a few other things that Michigan State University has been working on. We'll be talking to Mark about that. Joe Kramer with the Michigan Bean Commission joins us regarding that government report that came out yesterday. A whole lot more, but first this.
The versatile Kubota B Series is a do-it-all tractor. Run powerful attachments that can be easily switched out. It features a hydrostatic transmission and is simple to maintain. The Kubota B Series. It makes the hard work look easy. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Built upon a solid foundation of cast iron and steel, the Kubota L Series is part of our under 100 horsepower tractor lineup rated #1 for reliability. They feature powerful Kubota diesel engines and easy operation. the durable Kubota L Series. Talk to your local Kubota dealer today to schedule a demo. Go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
See Kim Weiss at Lingle Equipment, 3001 Sawyer Drive along I-75 at the M81 Carroll exit just south of the Zilwaukee Bridge, Saginaw. Call Kim today at 989-754-7801 or email at k.weiss@lingle1.com.
Farm Service brought to you today by the folks at Freeland Bean and Grain. Scouting your fields, it's not just for the summer. It's this fall. It's a really good idea to check those fields out before you roll the equipment in there. I know a lot of you really want to get things done quickly due to the weather, but it's really a good idea to be contacting Vic Hupfer over at Freeland Bean and Grain, who's a certified crop advisor. If you've got any questions at all, he can answer them. Freeland Bean and Grain, serving you since 1983. Where serving you is their business. One of the reasons why we're talking about scouting the fields and being a little bit more aware of what's going on, we're not just talking corn here. We're talking soybeans with Mark Seaman. Mark, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Terry. I'm doing good today.
Good to talk to you, Mark. First of all, a couple of things. Of course, the one thing that always rears its head is soybean cyst nematode. It just doesn't go away, does it?
That's absolutely right, Terry. This is a really tough pest that we continue to battle against every year, and I think we're making some progress, putting a lot of effort and resources into making progress to battle that, but it's still really a strong pest that really produces lots of eggs and reproduces at an exponential rate every time we grow soybeans. And when those females blow up with 150 to 200 eggs in each of them, in each generation through the year, we just have a tough time battling against those because they live in the soil for 10 to 15 years, just waiting for another opportunity for a soybean crop to be planted. So we continue to battle those, and there's national programs going on. So we're combining dollars from the Michigan Soybean Checkoff along with other states and the United Soybean Board to really try to hit this hard, and collaborating with the industry. There's chemical companies that are looking at opportunities to develop new chemistry to have some opportunities to control it with seed treatments and other products. So there's a bright light in the future. We just we need to work hard to get there.
Now, one thing that Mike Staten had mentioned to me, and of course I figured I was going to have you on the program, he was talking a lot about white mold. We did have some issues this year in the soybeans.
We did, yeah, more than we've seen in several years. This year it turned out to be pretty widespread, but mostly spotty within fields and probably places that we kind of expect it, where we see lots of growth and we just keep lots of moisture in that soybean canopy. But it's a really good reminder for us all to make sure that as we're looking at choosing varieties for next year, to evaluate the experience we had this year, and then also look at the seed company ratings for the resistance or the tolerance of white mold by variety.
Now, as far as tillage is concerned, after the soybeans are harvested, any suggestions there, Mark?
Yeah, that's a great point, Terry. There's lots of ways to control white mold, and one of those is to reduce tillage or not do tillage. So some of the thought there is to keep those apothecia on the surface of the soil so that they can either degrade naturally or maybe germinate quickly, and then they won't be there for the soybean crops in the future. So there has been some research that has shown that a no-till system is a pretty good tool in those fields that we expect more white mold. So where we have opportunities to reduce tillage and still get good production, that's a way to reduce white mold.
Very good. Good information. Mark, always good to have you on the air. Don't be a stranger, okay?
That sounds great. Thanks, Terry.
You bet. Mark Seaman with the Michigan Soybean Board. Let's slide over to the other beans coming off the fields these days. Joe Kramer with the Michigan Bean Commission joining me right now. And first of all, the status of the crop. Where are we, Joe?
Well, that's a good question, Terry. I think everyone agrees we're over 90%. Some people think we're 95. I think we're in between. There's a few acres of organic bean production that's still in the field. Some conventional acreage that's out there. Most of what's left, I believe, is black beans, which will take the weather a little bit better. But hopefully you can give us some sunshine here in the next few days to finish things up probably next week, huh?
I got a funny feeling we're going to have to wait a few days. Now, I just got the Michigan October crop production report from the ag department. And according to this, it says that our dry bean growers here in Michigan are expecting a crop yield down about 13% from last year. Is that accurate, you think?
Well, varying opinions about that as well, Terry. So the last couple of years, the state of Michigan has averaged about 20, right at 24 bags per acre, all classes combined, all acreage. At the Bean Commission, we set our budget using a 22 bag state average this year, knowing we'd probably have to amend that at some point. Some forecasters have us pegged now at 21 and a half. I think if you're in the northern tip of Huron County, you're feeling like that state average is probably a new record at, 24 plus. But if you were in your backyard where we had some water damage, some significant water damage, you're probably thinking 21 and a half might be a little high, but I'm going to still stick with my 22 bag forecast.
I'll take your forecast. Okay.
All right.
All right. And just real quick, as far as the world goes, the globe, anything new? Obviously, Mexico and not having anything down there is still going to play a role on our markets, right?
It is, Terry. I think that there has been some rain down there, but everyone seems to agree that it's too late. So rain isn't going to help that crop in most situations. It appears. Buyers in Mexico City continue to, and Monterrey, Guadalajara continue to purchase U.S. bean production. Pinto beans are shipping, black beans are shipping. But there's also some other ripples, right? So if Mexico was supplying black beans to Venezuela, for example, all of a sudden there's an inquiry here or there out of Venezuela. It just kind of changes the dynamics of, or flow or lanes of bean exports. So I think it's great opportunities for Michigan growers.
Great. Joe Kramer, thanks for sharing. You have a nice weekend, okay?
Take care, Terry.
Will do. Joe Kramer with the Michigan Bean Commission. Let's talk a little bit about protecting new trees and shrubs this winter with Chuck Cervinsky from Maple Hill Nursery. Chuck, good morning.
How you doing?
Hey, doing good.
Hey, a little bit rainy over here. Even though it's fall, we still need to think about protecting those trees and shrubs that we planted this year. Moist soil is key, and we haven't really had that much of a trouble with that lately. But moist soil will hold more heat than dry soil, and they're less subject to frost penetration. Keeping the plants well watered is going to result in better root growth as well. And you're going to want to put an additional layer of mulch around trees and shrubs, and that will also prevent root injury from frost penetration. Winter sun and wind is another factor that we've got to look at. Sometimes can cause the foliage of evergreens to lose moisture that is not replaced when the roots are frozen. Alberta spruce, arborvitae, boxwood, rhododendron are all susceptible to winter injury. The best thing to do is put a layer of burlap over the plants late November, early December to create kind of a windscreen to help protect them. And of course, the burlap can remain in place until late February, early March.
Thin bark trees, what should we be looking at?
Well, that's another thing. Sun scald can occur on cold, sunny winter days, and bark on the young trees heats up during the day to the point where that growth activity starts to resume. And then the temperature of the bark drops rapidly when the sun goes down. And so what you want to do to prevent sun scald is wrap the tree with a tree wrap. You can use the plastic tree guards, or we've got the paper tree wrap. Put that on a thickness or two, and that will definitely help keep the bark at a more constant temperature throughout the winter.
For more information, how do we get a hold of you?
Call us here at the store at 989-835-4708. Visit our website, www.maplehillmidland.com.
Take care, Chuck. We'll talk to you again
week.
next week. Chuck Cervinsky with Maple Hill Nursery. Stephanie Zelenko now joining us from AgriLiquid. And Stephanie, what are you seeing out there right now?
Well, we saw some combines running both corn and soybeans earlier in the week, but this tail end of the week here, things have slowed down a little bit. And probably the number one question I keep getting from guys, they're thinking about fixing their soils for the season that's coming up. So lime applications, and my advice is always just make sure you're using that correct lime application, that lime source, and not necessarily the one that's the easiest for you, because you can actually do more damage than you can good.
So for more information on some of these things, how do we get a hold of you, Stephanie?
Visit our website, agroliquid.com, and we have a link for Ask the Agronomist. You can send your question that way pretty quickly.
Fantastic. You have a nice weekend, okay?
You too.
Will do. Stephanie Zelenko with AgroLiquid. Just real quick here. The corn production is going to be down about 3% according to this last report. And the sugar beet production is going to be up in tonnage from a year ago. Back at 12:30 with an update. Now we conclude our program with the playing of our national anthem.
From the Premier Kitchen and Bath Gallery Studios, WSGW, Saginaw, Bay City, Midland, WSGW FM, Carlton.
This is CBS News on the Hour, presented by Indeed.com.
I'm Steve Kathan. Israel has told more than 1 million people living in northern Gaza to leave by tomorrow as the aerial bombardment goes on following